It's Thursday, it's 4 o'clock, and you're watching Chelsea and Tony live, and we have Matt Granger with us in the studio.
Yeah.
Thank you for traveling here.
And
Pixel,
yes.
who is now your sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered he came all the way here just for Pixel, so I'm not even offended. We're going to be reviewing your travel photos with Matt. He has some incredible photos here that I lined up for y'all to see.
You have so many cameras. Where am I meant to be looking?
The one with the red light.
This is just like being on late night. That's over there.
Now it's over there. It moved on you. I love this.
This is fun.
And then next week, I went too far. We're going to be reviewing your reflection photos so you can get those ready. Matt.
Yay.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Well, I'm sick, but thanks for having me.
I know.
Thank you for loaning me this blanket.
Is she keeping you warm and toasty?
Hot. I got like a puddle under her, I think.
She's pretty toasty and warm. Guys, if you have not submitted your photos yet, there's still time to do that. Go to sdp.io/submit. Submit your travel theme photos. Matt's going to be looking over them with us. We're going to give you some feedback. We're going to show you some edits if necessary.
We're going to talk about the new Nikon Z50.
True.
And one other piece of news. And
let's do that now, actually.
Well, why don't we, while people are submitting their photos, why don't we let Matt tell them about the complete photography bundle 2019?
Yes. Pixel and I were just talking about this on Instagram. Yes, thanks, guys. So I partnered up with, I'm one of the contributors for 5-Day Deal this year. They've got 4 different charities that they raise money for, and they get a bunch of different photographers to submit courses it's mostly courses, but courses or presets or actions. And then bundle it all up together and sell it as one big deal, and then a cut goes to profit. Cut of the profit goes to charity. Yeah, I can speak. And this year, so my Wedding Photography 101 is in the bundle, along with, I think, 28 other courses. And it's $3,000 worth of courses for $89. And I'm giving a bonus to anyone who uses my link of my Take Control of the Light course as well. So it's up until Tuesday, and I've actually already downloaded and watched a bunch of them. There's heaps of good stuff in there.
I'm going to get one too. So you get $3,000 worth of training for $89, and you're helping charity. I don't really think you can go wrong. And I think people should know, to get Matt's bonus material, you have to make sure that you use his link. Be sure that's the last one that you use.
It's a bit of a pain, I know, but to get your email to be able to send you the bonus, you have to be put on my list, and they only do it if mine was the last link. So, yeah. But either way, it's a great bundle, and I'm sure they'll love it. So,
yeah.
Let's take a look at the news real quick.
Calm down.
I wanted to follow up on a story we covered a couple last week, I think.
On our podcast, yeah.
Yeah, Disney
That's
has
scary.
addressed the issue. There's been a big outcry from the public about Disney replacing their staff photographers with machines. And now they're making a point of saying, like, hey, if you come to this particular event, we will have actual humans taking pictures of you.
Ooh, now humans are a luxury.
Not mice.
But I thought it was cool that Disney's actually acknowledging this and taking steps. Like, they're realizing, okay, maybe people like humans and not robots, and maybe efficiency isn't the most important thing.
People hate robots, Matt. I was at Stop and Shop.
Speak for yourself.
What's
Have
that?
you seen it's a grocery store. Have you seen the robots they have in the aisle? It goes around detecting spills.
I didn't even know it was a thing. No.
Okay. They have a robot.
She lives
get
in
one
Brooklyn.
here.
They don't have grocery
She
stores.
had a spill as soon
She
as I
did have
arrived
a little
today.
spill. You made her.
Do you want to go down?
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
Come on, baby. Sorry, we have to do a dog break here. Oh, shoot. All right.
This is what I'm here for. I'll see you later.
Okay, bye. Wow. Anyway.
That's kind of cool, but is that really saving a lot of labor? How many spills are there?
I don't know, but every time we see it, there's a person abusing it. Once it was Tony flicking it off. Another time a guy walked by and kicked it. And another time an older guy looked at it and said, "Get your ass out of here," to the robot.
I thought you meant like they were pouring stuff just to see it work. But no they're attacking it.
Yes. People hate robots. Bring back the real human photographers. That's what I'm getting at.
I bet those same people are kind of mean to store hands anyway.
You just feel like the
It's
abuse
actually
would have been
better
there.
that the robots are taking it than humans. Let's talk about the Nikon Z50. This is a rumored camera. The announcement came from NikonRumors.com. And I'm a little surprised by it, and I actually don't know that it's a good choice by Nikon to do this. It's in their Z line, so it's a mirrorless camera, but it's not full frame. It's an APS-C camera with a 20 megapixel sensor, probably the same one that we have in the current D500 SLR. The rumored price is about $1,000. It's going to have a flip LCD, like down flip, so it could face forward as long as you didn't have it on tripod, 11 frames per second, 4K video, one SD card, and no IBIS. And the reason I think this isn't a good choice for Nikon is that now they have to develop an entire new APS-C mirrorless lens lineup. And that seems like such a waste of resources because right now the Z full frame lineup does not have nearly enough lenses. And I feel like they should just put all their energy into building up the full frame Z mount. If people need inexpensive APS-C cameras, which they do, they still have the entire Nikon DSLR lineup. You can still get a D50-600 or a D3500 for low prices. So it seems weird to me that they've decided to split the Z mirrorless mount between APS-C and full frame. This is not the Z50. This is the Z1 concept, but it could be what it ends up looking like, which Nikon made such a big deal about having this massive mount for the Z mount in order to let more light into the full frame sensors, but now they're putting a little tiny sensor in here. So they have this unnecessarily huge mount that if you're going to make a small camera around it, it just ends up being like a grip on a big circular mount. And now their big mount doesn't seem like such a great choice if you pair it with a really small sensor. It's just wasting a huge amount of real estate on the camera. What do you think, Matt? Is this a good choice or a bad choice?
Well, the point you made is good about how are they going to develop it all, and that's going to, that's what Sony suffered from for all those years, right? Everyone complaining that it took so long to grow, and now they're there, and Canon and Nikon have to play catch up. But there's definitely people who still want to stay with APS-C. I don't know if it's enough to justify, but on my last trip, I was talking to two of my guests, and he has the money, has the option, but he rather stick with APS-C and likes the bigger depth of field and that little bit of size saving. Like he's waiting for a mirrorless APS-C from Nikon.
Really interesting.
So if the adapter works well and he can keep using his F-mount lenses, again, it's not smaller, but his point was that he knows mirrorless is going to be the future. So if he's going to buy a new one, he doesn't want to upgrade to the D500. He wants a mirrorless one, but he doesn't want to go full frame.
I would rather they just make an inexpensive full frame camera. You could make it inexpensive and small, like the Sony A7 II is also $1,000, and it has IBIS, and it's a very small and compact form factor. Like I think they can get all the qualities inexpensive and small and still have a full frame sensor, and then they don't have to make new lenses. But it looks like two lenses will be coming out at the same time: a 16-55 f6.3 and a 50-250 f6.3. So, but now they only have two lenses in the entire DX lens lineup. So that's kind of what you'll have to use unless you want to. Yeah, that's it. Let's take a look at some pictures.
Yeah, I wanted to also say hi to Chris Reddy.
Oh, yes. Hey, Chris.
Chris, I didn't mean to neglect you.
That's okay. Hello, all.
How are you?
Welcome, Matt.
Hello. Good to see you. I'm well, but sorry, I'm going to cough sometimes, so I have a little mute button here.
We're muting him, sometimes against his will. Chris will be here answering your questions and your comments and reading them to us. So if you have a question for Matt or me or Tony or anyone else, just send it on along in the comments and Chris will go through them. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Have you guys been here?
Is that the Bolivian salt
I think so,
flats?
yeah. I'm assuming.
I have not, but I've always wanted to go.
You know, at first I really liked this photo. I thought it was cool, but now I'm spying that this is shooting over another photographer's shoulder.
Yeah.
Like I think this is a paid photographer.
There's someone with a tripod up there too.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. That's like a pet peeve of mine when somebody just like shoot over somebody else's shot.
Better than waiting for them to leave and get the exact same one. I mean, that's what that shot is for, right? To just get the reflection. So it's cool because of that. But
Yeah. Okay.
I still think it's cool.
What's your feedback on this, Matt?
it's got the colors of a Windows desktop.
Yes, it is very
It might be a
saturated.
little rich.
It's a beautiful building. It looks like, I guess, Thailand.
Your friend is back.
Oh, hi. Sorry, Crystal.
It doesn't look like there's any real problems with fringing or anything. They did a good job at the style. I think it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a look, right? It's
a look.
kind of hyper saturated. But at the end, it is still just, I don't know. I always find that, what do you guys think? If it's shooting graffiti or shooting a building, it's an awesome building. and then it's a photo of it. Sometimes you get like an awesome photo of a normal building, and the photographer in me is like, oh, well done, that was a great job. Whereas this is like it's a guaranteed home run kind of. It's just an awesome building to start with.
Yeah.
I like it. I would use it as a desktop wallpaper, basically.
Yeah. It's very nice.
Ooh.
I have no idea what's happening here.
Your dog is scratching.
Yeah.
I thought maybe this would mean
Black.
something to you, but
Do you think I'm a druid?
Does this mean something to you, Matt?
Well, I think it was taken at like, is it a sundial? I have no idea. It's not deep water.
Okay.
There's fish, so maybe it's like the shallows near the shore of a beach. I have no idea.
I like that it's half underwater and half above. I think that's a really cool trick to employ, especially in this situation.
But the cool thing about that is to see, like, to join the two worlds. So if you had like a seabird sitting on the top, and then it's like, and little do you know that this crazy thing is underneath, or a person swimming through the top. But
They're doing that with the pole, but then I kind of want to take the pole out because it's not beautiful. I'm sorry.
Why?
She tries to dig her way.
this is why I'm here.
so Jeff is taking us to Hanoi here with a nice panning shot at 1/30th of a second. Mm-hmm. What do you think? That's a good way to tell a story, right?
Yeah, and I mean, in Vietnam, the biggest praise is to only get one motorbike in the shot is a great achievement. No, it's a great shot. I still struggle with panning. It takes me like 20 shots to get one that would be that sharp. I don't know that it really tells me much about Hanoi. It's other than, motorcycles are the primary mode of transport in Vietnam. That's not the typical kind of motorbike, and it doesn't it intentionally gets rid of the scene, right? So we're just focused in on them. So whilst I think it's a really well done pan, and they are hard to do, there's so many crazy motorcycle scenes that you'll see in Hanoi of like someone with a pig and 300 baskets and 7 children on one motorbike. This just kind of looks like 2 kids going for a hoon. I like the picture, but it doesn't kind of tell me anything about Hanoi.
Yeah, maybe the right thing for Jeff to do would just be to stay there for a couple of hours and just keep grabbing pictures, and eventually you'd get one that was sharp and had a more interesting character in it, maybe a little additional storytelling. Sometimes it's just a matter of waiting. Very landscapey shot here, kind of a classic shot with the tent lit up.
I love the colors in this. The color contrast is beautiful.
It's always crazy when you see that, the shadow being cast by the moon, I guess. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's for that kind of shot, you often see them and they're just so overdone. Like even if when you see a blended exposure where you've got the bottom is perfectly exposed, it looks so unnatural. This is, I think, a really beautiful shot.
Yeah, you're right.
Crank the clarity up.
It's very well done.
Great job, Philippe.
Huh.
Okay.
This is where goats come from. Not a lot of people realize. They think
The
they're
rare
mammals.
goat tree.
They are a fruit.
But they're not ready to be picked yet. They swing upside down
Yes,
when they're
they
ready.
do.
It's a cool shot. I wonder where this is. Let's see, is Mitchell in the room? I'm going to guess like Ethiopia, but that's because that's the only country I've seen with a scene like that. I think it's cool. I mean, it's a simple storytelling shot. Often when you're doing when I'm looking at travel shots coming back from a trip, I'm thinking about a series that's going to tell the story of the country rather than a hero shot. Mm-hmm. So that as part of your tour to this area, I think it's cool. It says something about the lifestyle, and I mean that is the reality. If it is sub-Saharan Africa, like I'm thinking that for a couple of hours a day, people just have to find a tree to sit under because the middle of the day is too hot to do anything.
I did bring
and it's
the
funny.
exposure down a little bit. We have white subjects there, and they ended up a little bit overexposed. This actually feels overexposed, too.
Whoa. This is very interesting. Some kind of tall chef.
So, apparently a parade in Havana.
Yes, I tell you, I was in Havana recently. I did not see that. You guys were in Havana, right? A couple of years back?
Yeah.
Did you see any giants?
No. I would have remembered that. I think it's a very interesting shot. I definitely wanted to look at it more, so that says something on its own. I don't know what the story is, but...
I'm guessing they're buskers.
Do they busk there?
Well, I mean, in every country, people, every country you go to, there's someone doing the levitating thing, looking for some donations. My guess is they are. They might be doing some kind of music thing as well. Are we hiding someone behind him? There's like a third leg.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Or maybe that's just a normal shoe.
I just made the sky a little more natural. I like that you went teal with the sky. For my taste, it was a little too much. But otherwise, you get some eye contact here. The color contrast is really nice. I like the colors. I like the vibrancy.
I like that Matt Marshall got a little bit low and pointed up at them. That helps to accentuate their height. I like that he's pretty close to them. That makes it more interesting than if you were further away with a telephoto lens, for example.
And it's actually, I was thinking at first, it just doesn't strike me as Havana at all. You've just got the good buildings and then people on stilts. But actually, that is a challenge when you go to somewhere that's so photographed to come back with a shot that's different. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen a Havana shot like that. So in that case, nice one.
That's a good point. Oh, boy.
Oh, when monks go bad. He looks terrified, poor thing. Or maybe they're just playing.
It's the shutter speed was a little bit slow.
It adds to the horror movie feel, though.
Yeah.
So I just got back from 2 weeks in Bhutan, and they have something like 70,000 monks there, I think, in a country of 700,000 people.
A lot.
And you see, even no matter their age, if they're 5 or 20, they're still just, kids. They may be holy and, well-read and whatnot, but still when they have their break, they chase each other with sticks. So it's just, it's kind of, it's incongruous and it's funny, but it's also just reality. It's just kind of a shame it's all washed out.
Yeah, but I think you're right that it does portray an interesting part of behavior that I didn't know. Like just what you said about monks is true, and that captures some of that. So that's good.
That's
Dancing
interesting.
with the Dead. I typically don't like street performers, but this is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Right? I think being at 24 millimeters and up close provides a really interesting perspective, and Marcus has like just the right amount of bokeh there where she's separated from the background a little bit.
I reckon this is probably some kind of festival rather than like a busker. If you look at all the people there, I think she's probably part of something that she's not like one person there with a hat out. It seems like the people are there for some kind of a festival. I actually really like it. And for me, that's the big thing for a travel shot. If it makes you want to know where is it and what was the celebration and what does that mean, dancing with the dead, and that kind of gets it. I can't even really tell what country they're in.
I'm going to give it a pick. I like that one a lot. Her expression's great too.
Classic.
Yeah, right? Like the kind of picture you see on Instagram a lot that kind of has come to symbolize this sort of travel with a person in the frame, sort of providing a focal point, almost like you live through them because you see them in the frame.
And I'm guessing that's the kind of shot that if you go back, the glacier was here, then here, then here, then here, then here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice shot. It's the kind of shot that you take for, I would take for myself. It's nice to have a shot of you in the environment, but it's a nice landscape, and I like putting people in shots too.
I do too. And this is a matter of opinion, but I think this is a very majestic shot, and I would make the editing match that a little bit. I might go in and play with some of the colors.
Go to town.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it now because
Dehaze might help quickly here because it's a very hazy day. Yeah.
Sorry, I can.
It's just common when you've got lots of trees, right? The atmospheric haze.
Is that what happens?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't know that.
Unfortunately, we get a very low-res picture from Michael, but it's a cool scene,
This
right?
is cool.
Michael had himself a fog plan, maybe?
Michael, did you have yourself a fog plan?
Good man.
He's a good man, Michael. I'm gonna give it a pick. I like that one a lot. But it's not really a travel
No,
picture.
it doesn't tell you anything about it.
Ooh.
So this does give you some sense for a different culture. Certainly, we don't have this happening anywhere in southeastern Connecticut.
We don't know that.
You guys got all kinds of wild stuff here.
Yes.
But no, I really like that. It feels like I don't know, what movie poster for Heart of Darkness or something. It's eerie and here the haze, it's perfect. If that were just a clear day, it would be kind of a boring shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks like a pastel painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting.
Nice one,
job,
Raj.
Oh, how can we say no to this one?
It's got everything, right? The
Natural
nice
framing.
Subject separation, a dog.
That's their best friend.
Are you gonna cry? Me
I
too.
wouldn't. That's nice. Very nice.
Pick.
I want a dog.
I know. We'll get you, dog. You can borrow Pickle. She digs.
It's fine. We've got a rented place.
There's something I really like about the shot, though I don't know where it's happening, and I kind of wish I could see what was in her basket. Maybe there could be a little more storytelling to it, but something about the toning and her expression, I like it.
It's very cinematic, huh?
It is.
It's odd.
That's the right word.
It's kind of jarring that her eyes are so central. It doesn't work, but it does.
I was gonna say it's so awkward it works. And I do want to know what's in the basket, and I'd like to know, what do you think is in the basket, Matt?
I've had a hard
heads.
week. I was going to say that, but I thought it was too dark. Yeah, bunny heads.
Were you really? I don't
What
know.
was the theme for this again?
Travel.
Handsome man. Am I right?
So Matt, this is a picture of you, so you may
It
be
is.
biased.
Which is the pick button?
The P.
Oh,
I'll hit it. Pick.
That's a Leica.
Oh my gosh.
So that was probably me shooting monks a year ago. Hi, Alon. I hope you're... Oh, he's right near us. Alon is from Tel Aviv, but he's flying into like Boston
Oh really?
sometime this week. So there you go. I think the background would have been a better subject.
Okay, I can agree. I like it. I'm a fan of Matt,
Oh,
or as I say, Matthew. Tony said, "Does he go by that now?" I said, "No. We're talking
I thought maybe I'd
business."
been calling you the wrong name the whole time, which wouldn't be the first time it happened to me.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge Chris and ask him if he has any interesting questions or comments from the peeps?
Yeah, we do. In fact, a recurring question, and since Matt, you're here, the whole idea of a particular look for Leica cameras. Do you know, is there a look? Can you tell if there's a particular look for when it's taken with a Leica camera?
it's. I think there's like a 5-second answer or like a lifelong conversation answer.
We're gonna go with 5 seconds.
I don't know, because whenever you do that, every time I see let's compare an iPhone to a Phase 1 or this to a that, and then half the people can't tell. Or like the color science one that you guys did, and then Sony came out on top, right? Something like that wasn't the expected thing. So I don't know. To be honest, if someone gave me 3 photos, I don't know if I could pick it. I feel like when I'm shooting it there is, but it's the craziest thing to see people buy a Leica and then put cheap lenses on, because I think it's just the lens has the look. I don't think there's anything that particular about the sensors at all. I do think the black and white that comes out of M10s is beautiful, but I think you would get the look having a Leica lens on a Sony or whatever as well, and then you get all of the benefits of mirrorless. So I think there is, but it's probably not worth the premium for most people, but it is for some. And that was a loner.
I always feel like if someone just likes something, that's okay.
So
Like people are always like arguing about these nitpicky details, and I think that there's something to just liking something and then using it.
Yeah. Can I segue on that? That was the. I'll keep it to the 1 minute, not the lifetime
Yes,
version.
I'd appreciate it.
So 2 of the guests in Bhutan. One was the guy shooting APS-C that I mentioned, and he likes it just because it's light, and he puts all his other money into travel. And the other guy was shooting with 2 120 film cameras, and he knows that in the end, he shot 90 rolls. So then developing that and doing high-res scans, it actually cost thousands of dollars. So he could have bought a digital camera if he wanted to, but he likes the process of it. So we talked about it over like 2 weeks, that what is it that's the most important? How many people are really only concerned with the output? And then how many people it's about the enjoyment of either the shooting or the editing or the whatever. So I really don't know. So I think that's why something as expensive as a Leica still sells, because for some people, partly it's a luxury product and that just works for some people, right?
Yeah.
But then there are people who, yes, that experience of doing things mechanically is worth thousands of dollars to me. And for most, it's not. But for you guys, is it more to do with the results or how it is in the hand, or?
It depends. So if I'm shooting, let's say I'm just doing headshots and I want them to be clean.
You just want to get it done.
I want very clean results. But I love to use like a Fuji. I just love the controls on the Fuji, and it's more fun for me to shoot with that.
Do you guys have a camera that you just love to go shooting with, but it's actually not that much about the results? Or?
For me, it's the XT3. I have like a nice little leather case and a nice strap for it.
Right?
Oh, yeah, it's right over here. And that's what I use when I'm shooting just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And if I'm shooting for work, I'll use a Sony, but as everybody knows, it drives me crazy when I use it. I don't love using it. I just love the results.
Yeah.
I think Sonys are joyless, actually. I'm shooting with a Sony right now, and I transitioned, but I find them joyless. And the same with using a Nikon. I was using a D850. Totally joyless. It's like the minivan of cameras.
I Marie Kondo'd my camera cupboard.
Did you really?
Yeah, the stuff that I don't use much. There was
Yeah, I did
something
that
that's
too.
like, I really enjoy it when I do use it, so I'm going to keep it. And then there was so much stuff. Like I just shot with the GFX 100, so spoiler, we haven't edited the video yet. But the output is amazing, but I just didn't want to use it.
Pick it
like
up.
it wasn't fun, and the buttons feel shitty, and it's just like I would pick up any other camera instead. I'd pick up the smaller GFX even,
Yeah.
which isn't as impressive, but it's just much nicer to use.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt,
Yo.
there's a guy in the chat that wants to know who's your favorite photographer in Chicago. Some guy by the name of Manny something or other.
Oh, that
Oh, it's
Manny guy.
Dave Pruitt. Hi, Dave. I hope you're watching. Dave is a hell of a guy. He portraits. He does everything, and he's got no ego.
Yeah.
Easy to work with. Lovely guy.
I agree.
Hope you're watching, Dave. He's actually the only Chicago photographer I know.
I don't like to talk to Chicago photographers.
Yeah, there are not many good Chicago
Their
photographers.
pizza's
really.
not great, but their
I've heard
photographers.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wasteland.
People are not going to understand that we're hazing him, and they're just going to think we really don't like Chicago. And you know what? I made peace with it. What else do you have, Chris?
When you are going out specifically on vacation to do travel photography, do you try and pack extra light, or do you try and bring everything in the kitchen sink?
It depends for me, but I want to hear your answer because you do it far more.
So I try. What's the right way to this? There's generally in the past, no, I probably overpacked. You do get more and more refined. Like so now, I never overpack clothes. I know what I need, and I'm not like bringing stuff that I don't use. It's rare that I would bring any gear and not use it at all, unless it's something I'm taking just to review. Like again with the Fuji, I think I used the 23mm a couple of times just because I had to use it, right?
Yeah.
But it's just this year I'm starting to realize I'm getting old and I don't want to carry quite as much. For the longest time, I was like, I don't care. I'll just bring everything, the 200 F2 and the D5. It's fine. I'll carry it all day. And yeah, now I would rather not have a 20-kilo backpack on all day.
That's how I am. I'm very small. I'm like 5'3". And when I carry a lot of things, I don't use them because it's too heavy to carry around. It's such a pain in the butt. So I'd rather just travel light and know that I have something on me all of the time. Mm-hmm. That's been my philosophy.
Either way, you're going to regret it. Pack light, you'll regret it because you're missing something. Pack heavy, and you'll regret it because you're carrying around all that stuff.
No, the one
never gonna
thing
be
I've
happy.
learned I regret not bringing is a tripod.
And I was going to say, but again, probably not heaviest. Because we will have 12 people on the tour bus, and they all bring a tripod, and 2 will take it out because 10 don't want to carry this big tripod that they might use.
Well, so I always bring a small tripod, which isn't ideal, but okay. So that's where we are with that. Let's review some more pictures.
What's he giggling about over there?
Justin thinks we're freaking hilarious. And you know what,
You
Matt?
are.
He's not wrong.
So here's Gary
Ned disagrees with
Fancher's
you.
sunset shot. Did a good job of kind of capturing the silhouette and showing these unique building shapes. Looks like Fiji, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Somewhere Pacific, probably. The only way you'd get the silhouettes better maybe is to get that little bit lower so you get the stilts a bit up into the brighter area.
Good suggestion.
I would bring up the exposure as well.
Yeah, but you might have to bring the highlights back down too, just because I find with sunsets you have to underexpose the highlights or you lose all the color. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I reckon maybe it didn't need to be quite that wide. We get it's a boardwalk, if it... I don't know.
Yeah, I think you could have
probably lose
isolated
that
a
last
couple of
bit
the
over there.
buildings. Like all the stuff to the right isn't really adding much to it.
Ooh, you're cutting off different parts of the photo.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Cohiba.
Oh.
So I'm guessing that's Cuba, seeing it's the Cohiba factory.
Yeah.
Beautiful woman. If you're a cigar lover, I hear they're the best. It's a cigar shop. It's probably, it's there's so much beautiful stuff to shoot in Cuba to have just a blurred out cabinet with tourist cigars. It's kind of a waste.
But her skin is green. That was the first thing I noticed.
Do you smoke Cohibas, Tony?
I usually smoke acid cigars.
What?
They have
It's
acid
a
in them.
brand name.
Ah, I thought that's why he was laughing so much. You actually have acid cigars.
Yeah. Yeah, they're crazy. You never know how the trip is going to end. But also, Stephen
what he
Eckert's
smoked.
favorite cigar.
Who's favorite?
Stephen Eckert.
Oh.
Jared Pollin's cover.
Did you watch that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
There's
Yes.
the acid cigarette scene in that too.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it's not that type of acid. It's just a name brand.
So the lighting wasn't really great for this portrait either. I really don't like, I think it's fluorescent lighting.
And it seems weird to me that the cigar is not lit.
Well, that's her job. I mean, that would be unprofessional of Maria.
It's,
Is that her name?
Yep.
Is it? Okay.
ooh, Bagan. I want to go there. I was actually planning to go there for 5 days before Bhutan, but I couldn't get it to work. So,
Where is this?
Myanmar.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the one that you always see the dozens of hot air balloons going up. Apparently there's literally hundreds, maybe thousands of temples, and they're all gorgeous through this valley. What's going on there? It seems really... Is it grainy? What is it? Is it
I was
low
going to
res?
ask you, what's wrong with the photo? Because something technically is wrong with it.
Maybe it's got a weird filter put on it. Just it all seems out of focus. It all seems really bitty, but it's at ISO 200.
Yeah.
Is it all the haze or no?
Maybe they recovered it a whole lot or something, or I don't know. It's also overexposed. Like we lost all the detail.
But
in
see the
sky.
top clips. So I reckon maybe they already have brought it down.
Oh, well, I brought the highlights down and did that. It was just straight up overexposed, and I was hoping I could recover some detail on the sky.
And
I am not
what's
sure
this?
what's
It's
wrong
like
with
there's shooting through a fire or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is hazy in the morning, but that doesn't look right. I've seen that shot with the temples. You can see the brickwork.
Well, yeah, but there's something. Okay, Jeremy, we don't know what's
Tell
going
us
on.
what you do.
7D, 65 millimeter. What's happening?
It is an older camera. Like it's not the 7D Mark II. It's the original
It's
7D.
ISO 200.
And he's using a full frame lens, and that combination would definitely kill the sharpness.
Well,
So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just that old. It's the original 24-105, which was not sharp on an APS-C body, which makes it worse.
Jeremy, we're really saying
Sorry,
some
well-
stuff here, Jeremy. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, we're just trying to help. I think getting an APS-C lens for that would improve your images quite a bit.
I think you got the time of day right. There's beautiful lighting on the temples, and I like that you got this fog in the picture. I mean, there are a lot of things right about the photo, but there is something weird. If you look at this transition and the gradient, it's...
Yeah, I reckon it's got a filter or something on. But in terms of framing, then that's maybe more useful. The bottom 20% doesn't really do much. So he's got that extra length. It's going to get even softer, I guess, if he goes out to 105. But, you could bring it up and maybe in from one of the sides so that the one kind of feature temple is more prominent.
Yeah. I agree. Oh, sorry.
There's so much there, right? It's hard to pick a subject, though.
Yeah. So this doesn't really tell me that much about travel.
Yeah, and I don't find a focal point either. My eye just doesn't rest anywhere.
Oh.
Must be another Australian in the house.
Oh, no. Do you think that they're trying to contribute to the comments on the photography?
See, I said you needed to add something. But again, it's below. I like that though. So that's a Rebel. Must be in a housing. F-16. Huh?
This is another photo where I'd have a little fun with the editing. What do you think? Mm-hmm. I mean, not right now.
So first by 180ing it.
Oh, you're wild.
I'm drunk.
This is one of those ones that I ask, why did they shoot at ISO 100 when, you've got a lack of light to begin with, and just bump that up 2 or 3 stops and you could get quite a bit more in the shot.
And so he's at she is at F16 to get everything sharp. But you can see the top of the dome is all wet. All the trees and everything are distorted, and there's kind of water drops and stuff. So cool shot. What is this red there as well?
I think that's the reflection on the top of the water.
You're clever. Yeah, so to kind of do justice to it, if you want the greenery in, you'd want to clean your dome.
Clean your dome. I just did some processing to make things a little more blue. And you can see before it looks a little bit kind of like a muddy green, yellow tones. And now I'm like cleaning it, You want that like clean water look, Matt. That's something the humans like. Uh-oh, the child's floating away.
The middle child is the happiest.
This could be anywhere in the world.
It's beach holiday, Tony.
Yeah.
It's a green screen.
I think it's a good family memory. It doesn't, I guess it says travel, kind of.
So I guess that's the hard thing, right? Everyone would love to be a travel photographer because it, for most people, means you're on holidays. But what is it actually, what do you think makes a great travel shot?
I think one thing about travel photography is you have to represent a different part of the culture, something that makes that place unique, and then within that tell a story. And I think that that's what can be challenging for people. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we were chatting again on my recent tour that so often people get disappointed when they travel because, like Havana, you go there with this expectation and it's not that.
Yeah.
So people kind of are often traveling to see the way they wish it was or the way they heard it was 10 years ago. But I think to be a good traveler, you have to be going to, I want to see how it is now, really. And there's going to be parts that are shitty, right? So that's kind of the conflict, because sometimes you go to a place and you don't want to give it a bad rap, but there are things, there are beggars or there are this and that. And in a lot of forms of photography like street, they say, oh, you shouldn't shoot this kind of stuff. That's kind of off limits. But for travel, if it's to say we're going to Peru and we're going to try and do a photo essay of the country, then it's kind of stupid just to do Machu Picchu. You know, there's a whole country there and there's good and bad stuff and there's, yeah.
I think people are sometimes afraid to tell the story of the way they see a new place, which is what photography is about. It's okay if you think a place is dingy or a little run down, If that's what you're seeing when you're there, you tell that story.
And then at the end of it, it's your selection, right? So if you took 2,000 photos on your holiday, just the culling process is going to end up being a completely different photo essay. It could all be playing at the beach shots, or it could be, monks whacking each other with pieces of wood.
That's what I prefer. I'm really tired of people replicating other travel photographers.
God, the Instagram effect.
But you just see the same picture over and over again, and then it's like a Disney World version of it where everything's supposed to be perfect. I find that so boring.
Yeah, we were at a temple, the most beautiful zong in Punakha in Bhutan, and you go inside, there's no photos allowed, but it's unbelievable. It's like their Sistine Chapel. It's so ornate. And there was so many tourists just coming and kind of squatting for 20 minutes to get the photo outside. They never even came in to see the murals and
They
stuff.
just miss out on the whole experience.
Just to get the photo of them having been there but not kind of seeing it.
Yeah.
Like, it would be better to go and experience it and not take a camera, even as a photographer, than to just take a photo to say I was here and then not experience it. It seems like such a waste to go all that way.
I agree, but people travel for such different reasons that I've learned to not even try to understand what other people are doing.
At least they're traveling, right? Even if they're doing it for narcissistic reasons, they are seeing some of the world. It is broadening their mind at least a little bit, even if their motives aren't pure.
I don't know. I think I could make a counter argument for that, because so many people go to a new place to try to have a very curated experience, like selfish experience.
Yeah, to show that they're going and broadening their perspective,
and
but
not.
then eating at TGI Fridays. And
yeah, and like they're mad when someone doesn't speak English and then they want a burger or something, and you're like, what's the point, man? Just go to Sandals Resort or something. Go on a cruise.
Oh, that sounds nice.
You want to go?
That's tired of traveling to the Baton.
What if we did travel photography only of Sandals Resorts?
I don't know what that is.
It's just an all-inclusive family resort.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, don't go there.
Don't go. Look at this baby alone, running free.
Terrified.
Yeah, pretty good timing.
Yeah.
I wish she was kind of more in the light there, but
Sorry, pixels.
good use of natural framing.
And also, Jim, nice to see you.
Yeah, I really like the shot actually. Whether it's his kid or someone else's, it's kind of adds a bit more. Again, I have no idea where that is in the world, but it's something I'd like to see.
Jim was on our one photo workshop trip.
Oh yeah.
This is an interesting idea, Phil, but I wish that she were also in focus.
Yeah, that was the
Kind
first
of.
thing I noticed was the focus. I just feel like it needs a focal point, right? I don't know. My eye just kind of wanders around. Like
It's
it actually maybe
pretty.
needs a person in it.
It's a kind of shot if you were going to rent it on Airbnb. It's like one of the 20 you want to see.
Yeah, I think it represents the place well,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell. Uh-oh. What is this? They are out of focus. Why? Are they out of the... No?
I don't know.
I
where
like
the
their
camera
red
focused.
hats. Film. I bet it's film. No,
No,
30D.
yeah, 30D. But it is a older camera.
I like the interaction in the photo. If I'm just taking away the technical problems, I don't know what's happening, but I like it, and I don't know what it has to do with travel. I don't think
Yeah.
anything. So we're going to move on.
This looks like water fire almost, but it's not, is it?
What's that?
We have
Something
a
they do in
festival around here where
Providence.
they have boats go through the canals and they light fires on them.
Oh, wow.
This is not it. People hate it when I guess the wrong location.
Yeah, you're way off.
That looks like Europe to me for sure. What's that
too.
sign say?
Sign.
Notre Dame, Paris.
Oh, okay.
Boom. You've been Grangered.
Can that be a thing, please? I mean, I like it. Again, there's no real place to be looking. It's kind of it's a night scene, and it shows that people in Paris, hang out by the canals.
Yeah, but most of the frame has nothing in it, right?
You could have
Maybe
a
we
boat
wait for
come
a boat
through it. Or,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Is that the same girl from the temple?
No.
She's got shoes now.
She's a little observer. That's something scary about that. Like
think
if she
that's
observes
Hong
you, you
Kong.
die. Oh,
Maybe there's this shot there if we got closer
sorry, I got it.
and just zeroed in on her and the skyline.
but then it's not really.
Like maybe there's just too much in the frame right now.
I'm not getting a travel vibe.
No.
Serio. What's happening?
It's definitely an interesting architecture. It's very washed out.
Yeah.
Sort of like that midday super humid shot. Like it's a cool spot that maybe needs to be shot at a different time of day.
Yeah, it look like there's parts of it that look like cool old ruins, but then there's also looks like a little government hut with a satellite dish and stuff.
Yeah. I think it needs a little storytelling. Like if there was someone walking through that explained this place, what people do here. I don't know. Let's keep
Maybe a
going.
waterfall.
Let's keep going, Craig. To Craig.
Maybe there's some more questions.
Chris, you got any more questions for us?
Yes, I do.
We have a lot of pictures today.
Wow.
When you're traveling, what do you use to transport your gear? Like on the plane, do you always do a carry-on, or do you ever check anything?
I'm all carry on.
I travel light, so I'm all carry-on, but I know you tend to travel with more gear.
So tripod in the luggage. I'll have, if I've got mics and that kind of thing, then I'll put them in something hard in my luggage. I use like a hard-sided suitcase. But then cameras and lenses will all be carry-on. So actually that's one of my top tips. If you can get if you're traveling a lot and you can get a frequent flyer status, the only value to me of having frequent flyer status is that you get to use the premium check-in and they don't weigh your hand carry because mine is always over.
Tony's is too. Sometimes when people pick it up to put it in the back of a cab, they're like, wow, man, what's in here?
You do bring up a good point. I put replaceable and disposable stuff in my checked bag, and a tripod is often like that. Because wherever I go, if I lose it, I can pick up another tripod probably.
I just think about if they're going to chuck it around, what will get broken or not.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Matt, same. We're thinking a lot alike. What else do you have for us, Chris Reddy?
Okay, here's predict the future for us. We all know the ubiquitous Instagram travel photos of today. What do you think the trends for travel photography will be in the future?
Oh, interesting. Right now everything's very glam. Like everyone's wearing a yellow jacket against a blue sky, and or somehow a dress when they're hiking. I think we're going to go back to an offensive place of helping poor people again. What do you think?
Again, it's like, what are you shooting for? Are you doing it for likes on Instagram?
Yes, that's what they're going to be doing.
So if it's going to be continuing the trend, it'll be Chinese and Indian middle class traveling to places that they saw in their favorite dramas. That's what is happening so much these days. The lavender fields in the south of France, or this in Korea that was in this series. You just get tour buses of people going to get that shot. And then for the rest of us, we know where not to go.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that's going to be the new Instagram trend?
No, but I mean, just that's the experience of going to those places now, that you have to wait in line for the 300 people who've come to get a selfie there if you want to get a shot. So it's not what I'm hoping will happen. That's not what I'm going to be taking, but that's the trend I am seeing more and more.
I certainly am not hoping for mine, but everything's so glam now. I think it has to go back to something a little grittier.
Gritty. But I mean, what I consider to be good travel photography hasn't really changed. The great stuff people like Ira Bock are doing, that could have been taken. I mean, what the people are doing and wearing and that kind of thing is changing. But the way they're trying to get into a community that's real and not made for tourists and show what's going on and, bring people there who can't get there themselves. I think someone like Ira has been doing it the same way for 20 years, right? And that doesn't really change. It may not get likes, but it's still great travel photography.
Ira is incredible because he thinks about telling an entire story, not just about getting one photo. Mm-hmm. And he thinks about being inside the community like you're talking about. He told me he asked a woman to go inside her house so he could go up to her balcony and take a picture of kids playing from above. Like he goes above and beyond to just show.
I think that kind of thing is such a good lesson, because you think, we were talking about the motorcycle panning, that it's a lot of commitment to stay an hour to try and get a shot. But then the best series I've seen are when people spent like 6 months. Mm-hmm. Like the lady who stayed with the reindeer people and then got to be part of the community, or Joey L going to Syria and being with freedom fighters for a year or something. That's when the amazing shots come, and that's not something you can do on your 20 days of leave each year, if it's just a hobby, really, unless you keep going back again and again.
Yeah, I do think there's something to going to a place and seeing it with fresh eyes and then documenting that, but then staying there longer and getting a deeper perspective. You're right, you get better pictures.
Yep.
In a way, the whole notion of travel photography is a little off, right? Because the best pictures of any given location are going to be taken by people who live there, who are from there, who deeply know the culture. And it's weird to me that we always look for okay, we want to know about Afghanistan. What pictures have Americans taken while they were visiting Afghanistan, instead of seeking out Afghan photographers? Because those exist.
I don't know about that, because I had a guest on my last tour from Peru, amazing photographer. He's been to so many places around the world. And it's only when he sees other people's work of Peru, he realizes how great Peru is. Yeah. And I'm probably the same of Australia. So my best shots are not from Australia. Mm-hmm. So I think there is something to seeing with fresh eyes. It seems exotic and fascinating. Whereas if you grew up in Paris, it's not as gorgeous as the first time you or I go to Paris.
Yeah.
I remember when we met Ira Block, which you just talked about, in New York City, and we went to take some pictures, and he said, I can't take pictures of New York City. I'm from here. Mm-hmm. And it's true, if you're too familiar. So that's a good argument.
I see, I agree with that when you're an outsider coming in, you see new things. But I also think it's important to have equal representation in photography, because you need perspectives of different people from different places, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Right.
Here's a picture by James. Now, I made a bunch of tweaks to this picture, mostly to accentuate the subject separation here, since we had this focal point, and you can see in the original picture, they were dark outlines against a dark background. So I wanted to brighten those midtones to make them pop a little bit more.
Okay.
But overall, great shot.
I like that, James.
Cool.
Makes me feel small. Oh, pick.
So that's the between the one. Oh, you've passed it now, but so that's kind of the difference, right? It's so epic, and you've got that tiny little subject, but it just gives everything perspective. This kind of doesn't have that.
You're
Right.
There's no sense of scale.
Yeah, I feel like that let's stick a person with their arms out thing has really come about in the last few years thanks to Instagram, but it does teach a valuable lesson of having a focal point, and it really does make a difference.
What is this?
I don't know if this is it. There's something called the chocolate hills. No, not that kind. In the Philippines. From a
What?
distance, this is kind of what they look like, but I didn't. Maybe not. But
What kind did Matt think we were thinking of?
That's all I can think about.
hills. I mean, chocolate, right? It's exciting.
He's pooping.
So, pooping. The unposed shots are great, right? But also if it's unposed and some cool interaction going on rather than just
Like
trying to
digging through
find the
bag.
can opener. So maybe this is going to be the future trend.
No, this
Standing
already
on a
is.
big rock, showing yourself in front of the vastness of the universe.
It's a current trend, I think.
I like that you have a person in the photo. It doesn't look real to me. It looks like you said stand there, and then she did. So, maybe you have her pose, but then you also get a few candid shots just to try to get something a little more natural. But I like it otherwise. They keep
Oh, it's wearing a vest.
It has a raincoat. I like the leading line, the long exposure, the water.
I like
I'm
the
confused.
dog.
It says it's at 1/50th of a second, so maybe it's multiple pictures blended together.
Well, that was very fast water.
Oh, the fastest. I like the color contrast too, the green, the orange tones. I'm going to give this a pick. I like it.
If the camera were kind of slightly to the right, we might get a better separation. And the bottom 30% doesn't really add anything. It's all about the log and them. You could almost make this into a square.
Let's do it.
Everyone take out your scissors.
Yeah. Great
Wow.
suggestion, Matt.
Matt. Dang it. You're good.
Oh, have you guys seen puffins in real life?
No, we want
They're
to.
so
No, I don't
funny.
think I ever have.
Are they? Why would they do? Murder?
They're like, you're dark. No, they're like fat and awkward, and they're like penguins that can barely fly,
Oh, I like that.
and they can't really fly. So they like jump off the cliff until they get momentum, and when they're landing, they just crash land. But really cute. Like I just giggled the whole time. I could barely get a good exposure.
That's really cute.
I think this is the horned one. They have the thing there.
I wish I could see his eye. He just looks like he has a little black hole.
So you
always
could use
think
a
on
bit
the-
of fill
use the
flash,
mouse
but
for
it's
second mouse.
also not really sharp. Oh, so maybe it was. I don't know if this was, but when we went to see the migrating birds in Iceland, it's during the summer, so there's not really a sunset. So you can go and get that photo at 2 a.m, but it's
Yeah.
like twilight. So ISO 1000. Well, with those settings, it must have been dark.
That's a good point.
I make good points.
I noticed that. You've been a great guest. Rick.
Where's the dog?
I don't know.
Oh, she's over here sleeping. So here we have this like lit primarily by these artificial lights that are casting this really like yellow color on it. The sky is pretty, but between the sort of mist color and the lack of a focal point, like a boat or something, my eye doesn't have anywhere to rest really.
1776.
It's a good year. That's kind of, I have this trouble often with landscapes. I see something and I think it's gorgeous, but I just can't get it in the shot. It doesn't translate. And I'm guessing that Rick saw this and saw something really beautiful, but I'm not meaning to be too blunt or rude, but I just don't get it in the picture. I can imagine being there, it would be really nice, but I'm not getting it.
Maybe it's about isolating the spot. So maybe cropping it to here. Maybe getting a longer exposure so that the picture is cleaner.
ISO 16,000.
Yeah. But I can see how this was a very beautiful spot, but yeah.
I would like to live there.
You want to live here? In here?
As long as it's near a metro stop.
Yeah, it is. Dexter.
That could be like out where I grew up.
This is very... Oh, really? There's not a lot of contrast. I see this as the subject, this barn, and it's very just middle gray.
Yeah,
For me,
something
the
has happened
tree's
with
the
the
subject.
contrast because
Oh, okay.
the sun's in the photo, but it doesn't ever touch the right side of the histogram. So Dexter must have brought the exposure down.
Yeah. Maybe really underexposed it to keep the clouds all gritty.
But interesting scene. Oh, sometimes I just move on. Sometimes
you
I
do.
just go.
Okay, this is a pretty incredibly detailed photo. Beautiful shot of the Milky Way.
Do you think we need
Adrian,
all
I'm
this?
just giving you a pic. Oh, good question. We do have those weird rocks kind of sticking on the right there, which we could probably get rid of. You see, you just want to be like, yeah, there's a reflection. We get it.
I think the reflection of the mountains is great and it's sharp enough, but once the reflection of I don't think the reflection of the stars adds much for me.
You're right. Wasted space.
But that's a cool shot. I like it
is.
still.
I'm giving it a pick.
And I like your name too. Cool. It's like a Harry Potter character.
Hadrian Jabalair. Yeah, that's a cool name. You're right. Mean Men Horse Star Dupe. I don't know what any of these words mean. Okay.
Kuala Lumpur.
Keith.
I think we need to just shoot this earlier in the evening, maybe during the blue hour, because
yes.
the contrast is just too high.
Too
Like
much.
all the blacks are gone.
And too many buildings.
Yeah, pick a focal point.
Wow.
This has all the beautiful elements, right? You've got the fog, you've got the mountains and the beautiful sunset or sunrise, but it's just missing some focal point, I think.
It's kind of a picture there.
Yeah, it's very dead center too.
I can only touch the screen and no one can see that, but whatever you do is exactly what I meant.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Ish.
Don't you think?
That's definitely a
Yeah.
step in the right direction.
Yes.
Good shot, John.
Good job, Matt and John. High
For
five.
John.
MJ Adams. I like the colors in this. I'm just a sucker for colors. There's something awkward about the crop. Cropward? Is that a thing?
Croppage. Put that on a t-shirt. Yeah, it looks like that was the last spot that we could set up a tripod without getting it washed away. Yeah, there's too much rock. You know, it's I don't know, a good idea, but being further out, maybe on the rocks rather than in the water. Sometimes being low and in the water does give you a great sense of, you know, really being in it. That's something an Australian landscape photographer, is he known here, Ken Duncan?
I don't know of him.
No, he's a big deal in Australia, but he does it a lot. He'll like wade out and have this industrial tripod and be like in the middle of the water for his shots.
Wow.
But for that one, I think if you want, all of this is kind of
A lot.
nothing, right? So
Yeah.
you want the lighthouse. So get closer.
Okay.
Oh, I just got so opinionated, right?
No, I thought that was appropriate. I'm missing a focal point here, but I like that you use natural framing.
You can zoom out.
But, okay. I was going to say, yeah, they're framing what?
Yeah.
So we were talking about this in your kitchen.
Yes, we were.
Now, when you go to Kyoto, what people's experience of seeing geishas is other Japanese or any tourist dressing up in a kimono like that. So that's a tourist. That's not a
This
traditional
is
scene.
a faux geisha.
Well, that's not even a geisha. It's just a kimono.
True.
I would probably just get rid of the sky tower in the background and have it be on her and the bridge and the trees.
I agree. I mean, I don't know if they were trying to make a statement.
Modernity, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
but I'm not feeling it.
Have you been to Japan?
Yeah.
Do you want to go again?
Yes.
Let's go.
Last
Nice.
time I went,
That's beautiful. That's
I
a great
had a
shot.
tan. I went to Hawaii first, and I was the tannest person in Japan, hands down. It was a spectacle. They thought Tony was handsome, though.
Why do you say it like that?
Crazy in Japan.
Why do you say it like that?
They're crazy. They're like, oh, they were like, are you a movie star? This is Tony.
Try being a redhead in Japan.
What happens
That
to you?
will just come and touch you.
I heard if you have curly hair, they might touch you as well.
Yep.
Okay. But if you're brown, they don't want to touch you at all. That's what I've noticed.
Japan's one of my favorite countries. I love going there, even though I'm not curly or redheaded.
Let's look at one last picture. Then we'll take a question from Chris and get out of here because my butt is actually sore from this stool.
That's how boring the conversation's been. Actually, my ass is aching. That looks like the kind of house that creepy family from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo live on.
Yeah, maybe.
That's cool. Drone shot. Don't know where it is.
Cool. Christopher.
It's a screenshot.
Yeah, I don't know why it's a screenshot, but yeah, it's cool.
I like the colors.
I also don't have anything additional to say, but maybe I'm just tired.
Can we take another comment?
Yeah. What do you
Preferably
have for us,
one
Chris?
not about Tony's butt
Or Chicago.
or Chicago.
Okay. Is the shift from DSLR to mirrorless, is it more like the shift from rangefinder to DSLR or from film to digital? How big of a shift is it going to be?
It's not a big shift. Like, the process of using the camera is not.
Yeah, is that what you think they mean? Like the interface of person and camera, or what it's going to do to the industry?
Oh, and speaking industry-wise?
Yeah, I was wondering if it would
Well,
actually change photography at all, because rangefinder to DSLR, film to digital, those things changed photography, as did changing from like waist level viewfinders to eye level viewfinders. These changed images, but I don't know that I see mirrorless cameras producing different images than people got with SLRs. It seems like it shortens the learning curve a little bit, maybe speeds your workflow, but it just seems like an incremental thing, right?
No, I think it's more intuitive now because most people go from using their phone where you can live see things to if you went to a DSLR where you can't see the final image. I think that's upsetting to somebody.
Yeah. I think it's a big question. I don't know how you answer that. Tony's is right, though. I think the biggest advantage is it must speed it up so much. Imagine learning photography now on film, having to take your notes and wait for it to get developed and come back, whereas now you can correct your mistakes instantly, or even in the viewfinder with mirrorless before you even click the shutter.
Yeah.
I find those questions really hard to answer. I don't know how you guys do it on the show, but you get this broad question. I don't even really know what they're asking. Like, what are they trying to get from it? Like, it would be easy to just say, I'm facing this problem. What do you think? It's so big. I don't know how to kind of add value on a question like that.
It's a big question. We just usually go for it and see what happens.
The way I could see it is at some point when mirrorless becomes so mature, will it pretty much wipe out DSLRs, or is there room for both of them? Is there something different about them both that they both have to exist?
That's a Tony question.
I think people will always be hanging on to DSLR. Like, people still use film, but I think mirrorless will be more popular.
Yeah. I mean, so people are still shooting film and they're so passionate. You have to appreciate it. But yes, they're still making film, and yes, you can still buy some film cameras, but it's this many. You know, it's digital now, right? It's something you do if you want to enjoy it. So I'm sure eventually it's going to be mostly mirrorless. DSLR won't just die, but it's going to shrink like significantly.
I am not sure that DSLRs are going to go away substantially, because what we saw was this massive spike in sales during the DSLR era, and now we're selling 1/10 as many cameras as we did in 2009 to 2014, and so mirrorless sales are very low compared to what DSLR sales have been cumulatively. And if you're visiting a place, you see everybody with their cameras. And the last time we were in Iceland, I just counted the cameras, and something like 95% of cameras were SLRs, DSLRs. And I saw one Canon EOS R the whole time. I saw 0 Nikon Z cameras, and then like the occasional Olympus or Fuji.
I guess it depends on who's your demographic, because for that's probably true for my workshops, which are probably people who are spending more on camera gear. I can see there's definitely every workshop there's more mirrorless. The percentage is going up, and now the majority are mirrorless.
But they're all people who follow a YouTube camera reviewer.
Yeah, well, most, but still.
Okay, but also, if somebody's traveling with a camera on vacation, they might keep a camera for more time than somebody that's more of an enthusiast of photography. So you might have somebody where they're going to keep this camera for 7 years, but when they update, they're going to mirrorless. Like we haven't seen the transition yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with, I can't really remember what the topic was, but it was with a Leica executive who pointed out that, things are slowing down, but we're still now selling more cameras than we were when it was film. People are still, so it's not like they're going to necessarily go out of business. It's just people are still buying cameras, just not one new one every year like they were because smartphones are so good.
Yeah. I was saying, I think smartphones take away that natural transition where the form factor was always the same. So they'd have a cheap point and shoot. And then when they made that transition to like a small DSLR, the experience wouldn't be very different. And now the barrier to entry is actually more like you have your phone, everything's just looking and touching a button, and then you go to something far more complex.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for people to make that transition. It's different.
And the phones are getting so good now that if you don't know how to use that, you'll probably actually get a better results on that. So even with, and me too, but even with really experienced guests, they'll often get their phone out and not just for happy snapshots, for like your iPhone does 4K 60. I don't own a camera that does 4K 60. If you,
Yeah.
What was the question?
Something about like, what are we doing for dinner tonight?
Oh, it's a good one.
One more, Chris. Let's take one more.
Okay. Well, first of all, people are really appreciative of the feedback, and several gentlemen have given money in a super chat, just thanking you for all your input. So
thanks, guys.
people like the input from the people that know what they're doing. That's that's a big part.
Yeah, they're glad that Matt is here finally.
Yeah.
What is super chat?
It's when people can just give you money for being.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
I dreamed of this.
It's generous.
I dreamed of this as a child.
When you're traveling, how do you plan your days? Do you plan on sunrise and sunsets and avoid the middle of the day, or just leave that for family stuff? Or how do you plan your days?
We plan around the light. So we plan our shoots for when the light's going to be best. I think Tony has a whole video about apps you can use to do that.
Yeah.
And then when the light is crap, we do things non-photographic.
Yeah, go to a museum.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll call it scouting, like we'll go check out a location, see if it's worth coming back to. What about you, Matt? What do you do?
It depends on the country. There's places where it's just so hot in the middle of the day, you don't want to be out shooting anyway. Because I don't shoot that much landscape, though, I am often spending a lot of my time and energy trying to get access to something that I want to see.
Yeah.
So it could be to be allowed to photograph some festival, or to get into a family home, or to do this or that. So I spend a bunch of time on that. And if they finally say you can come at 10 o'clock at night, then I'll just go and experience it and not shoot. So for me, it's about those kind of, you don't want, I kind of feel shitty saying it, because when you go to a place, people often want to have, I want to go somewhere that no tourists go. I want it to be authentic and untouched, but then be the one that touches it and kind of messes it up, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of feel that way too sometimes, that it's nice to just go to something that this isn't being done for me. Like that this is just happening and they're welcoming of me seeing it and shooting it. So that's what I'm often spending my time to do. That didn't really answer your question, but.
No, I think that makes sense.
Well, let's get out of here, and I'll give one last plug to the Complete Photography Bundle 2019. Matt has some training as part of this, but there's training from like a dozen other high-profile photography educators, and it's valued at over $3,000, and you can pick it up for $89 for the next 5 days. So head to this URL that Justin was showing on the screen and pick it up before the deal ends.
Yeah, it's it's in the title, right? 5 days.
Yeah.
This is my first time in it, so I'm learning it all at the same time. But Tuesday, they get rid of it, and then next year it's something different.
Okay. I'm going to pick mine up. And remember to use Matt's link
Oh, yeah,
last.
to get the
It has
extra
to be
one.
it has to be the last link that you click before you actually buy something. And then you get his extra training as well, bonus training.
Thanks, Chels.
No problem. So we'll see you all next week. And our theme is going to be reflections.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Thanks, Justin.
That's all.
Bye. Woohoo.
That is
I
all.
held that one.
You made it.